What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Alphonso Speaks, and welcome back to more Darrell Brooks content. We are officially monetized, so round of applause to all of you, all 1,060 subs at this point that I have. Props to you guys for making this a reality for me, making this happen. Memberships are now available during live streams. Super chats will be available. Super thanks are now available under videos that aren't live. And yeah, we are just trucking right along, guys, and really happy to see how everything has turned out here. This has been absolutely phenomenal. You guys are amazing. I'm still going to be trying to reply to every comment, or at least react to every comment. Just a disclaimer, just because I react to a comment does not mean I agree with the comment necessarily, but I do want to show love to everybody who leaves a comment under my video to let you guys know, hey, I see you, basically. So, if I have a strong opinion about what you said, whether I agree or disagree, I'll let you know. And hey, look, the wife is calling. Let's see what she's talking about. Hey, honey, you're in my video now because I'm recording.
That's crazy. I'm sorry, y'all. Bye.
I love you. All right, a little bit of housekeeping, guys. Kenichi Bear Headphones, our official sponsor. Hibernation 5C is available right now. The holidays are coming up. We're about 6 days away. Okay, so make sure you use promo code, all caps, Alphonso. I do identify by that name, and I do know that individual, and you all have the subject matter jurisdiction to get yourself a brand new pair of Hibernation 5C headphones, okay? The link is in the bio, or you can scan the QR code that you're seeing on the screen right now and get yourself a brand new pair. Hibernation 5C Kenichi Bear Headphones, official sponsor of Alphonso Speaks. Now, the testimony that we're going to get into here today is the testimony of Officer Jeremy Phillips. I actually don't really remember what he testified to specifically, but I do remember Darrell Brooks getting very irritated because Jeremy Phillips would not look at him while he was answering. And I explained to you guys in the last video that, I'm sure you hear my cat in the background. Hey, Luna, stop messing with the wrapping paper, please. Anyway, I'm sure you guys remember in the last video that I put out, I told you guys Darrell Brooks is looking for any and everybody that will be his friend, that will talk to him, that will treat him like anything other than a monster, because everybody in that courtroom probably despises him, and he could probably feel that. So if he can tell that he's being, I don't know, looked past or not being acknowledged in the way that he wants to be acknowledged, he's going to act out. And that's what we're going to see here in this demonstration, in this examination. Okay, so Luna, come here, baby girl. Come here. Come here. Good girl. Come here. Come here. Oh, that's a good girl. Cats. Come here. Come here, princess. Come here, mama. Come here, baby. Oh, there we go. You guys haven't met the princess, my little baby, Luna. It's my first daughter. Hopefully having our second one in July. This time in a human form. But yeah, this is Luna. So if you hear her messing with the wrapping paper in the background, actually, I'm probably just going to put her out the room. That sounds like a better idea, right, guys? I'm going to do that, unfortunately, because this little baby girl cannot stay away from the wrapping paper. So give me 1 second. Look, guys, this is a real household, okay? You know what I mean? Like, this is the type of stuff that I do on a daily basis. I'm sorry, but I can't act like I'm just in some studio. I'm at home, chilling, making these videos for you guys. And I have cats, I have a ferret, and I have a beautiful baby boy. So it is what it is, right? Let's get into the testimony of Officer Jeremy Phillips.
First thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and spell each.
My first name is Jeremy, spelled Jeremy. My last name is Phillips, Phillipps.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. How are you employed, sir?
I'm employed with the City of Waukesha Police Department.
And how long?
So what I find interesting is Darrell's going to take offense to him not looking at him while he's answering these questions. He's doing the same thing with the prosecution. But Darrell doesn't care about that. Darrell only cares about himself, how people are treating him.
How long have you worked in law enforcement?
I've been on law enforcement for a total of 14 years next month.
All with the City of Waukesha?
I have about 5 months with the City of Dodgeville Police Department in Wisconsin. The rest has been with the City of Waukesha.
All right. Sir, I'd like to direct your attention to the date of November 21 of 2021, please. Were you working that afternoon?
I was working that afternoon, yes.
What was your duty or assignment?
I was assigned a normal patrol beat, squad area 216 at the City of Waukesha on a 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. shift.
Were you aware there was a parade taking place in downtown Waukesha that afternoon?
I was aware that there was a Christmas parade downtown Waukesha.
Were you directly assigned to work the parade?
I was not assigned to work the parade.
You said you were one of the officers that was just involved in general patrol of the city that afternoon.
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
Like, share, and subscribe. Forgot to tell you that. Also, get your membership so that you can be a part of our members-only live streams. You don't want to miss out on those, okay? I'm going to give you guys, behind-the-scenes access to getting to know more about me, my family, my career, what I do outside of this, and we're also going to have just exclusive chill-outs where we watch stuff like this. So make sure you guys take advantage of it. I forgot to say that at the beginning of the video. Really, in detail.
I'd like to direct your attention to time around 4 o'clock or 4:30 in the afternoon. Do you recall getting dispatched to Frame Park?
I do recall being dispatched there, yes.
Do you know the exact time you were dispatched?
I believe it was 4:52 p.m. approximately there.
Okay.
Okay, so I think this is the officer that got called by Nicholas Kirby. Okay.
And where is Frame Park located?
Frame Park is rather large, but it's generally located in the downtown area off of White Rock Avenue and Baxter Avenue.
What was the nature of the complaint you were responding to?
I received a complaint to respond in emergency fashion, which means light and siren, for subjects fighting in the park with a knife allegedly involved.
Where were you coming from?
I was in the patrol area of East Moreland, roughly at East Main Street at the time, and that's where I was responding from.
Was Main Street shut down at the time for the parade?
Main Street where I was responding from was not, no.
Okay. I guess let me ask a better question. Were you able to travel along Main Street to get to Frame Park? From where you were located to get to where you needed to go, did you travel on Main Street?
I did not travel on Main Street to get to Frame Park.
Okay. And which direction did you come in from then?
I came in on East Moreland, westbound, to White Rock Avenue, westbound.
And as you approached the area, could you see individuals associated with the parade?
Yes, I could, as I neared the vicinity.
What do you remember seeing?
As I neared the vicinity of White Rock Avenue at Baxter, directly in front of me appeared to be a unmarked patrol vehicle, silver in color, which was blocking the roadway at White Rock Avenue and Hartwell Avenue. And I believe off to the side, I could also see a marked patrol vehicle.
Could you see any floats or people participating in the parade?
At that particular time, as I arrived in the vicinity, I did not. I just saw the side of a squad car with emergency lights activated. It wasn't until a little while later I saw that there were floats and such on the other side of that patrol vehicle.
The silver colored SUV with lights, red and blue lights activated, do you know whose squad car that was?
That belonged to Sergeant Dave Warner.
Where did you go?
When I arrived to the area, initial dispatch information stated that this alleged fight involving a knife was somewhere in the vicinity of the Schutze building where the boat ramp was. Based on my training and experience of that vicinity, I know that the boat rental checkout is on the back side of the Schutze building. So that's the initial area I responded to and where my attention was drawn to.
This time, Your Honor, I'm going to ask your permission to put up Exhibit 1, which is the map of the area we've been working off of.
Permission granted. Yes.
My man Jeremy
Do
Phillips
you
looks like
see
he
that
about his
item in
business.
front of you, Officer Phillips, on the screen?
I do now.
Okay.
Oh, it needs to be public. Hold on. Thank you. Sure.
So that is a touch screen, and
So I want you guys are probably wondering, what in the world is Darrell doing? Like, why is he shaking and convulsing and all this stuff? This is after he had been removed from the courtroom because he was trying to restrict his COVID results from being open. So here's what we're going to do. Actually. Let's go back for a second because I want you guys to see this. The very end. Because this is something that we've talked about that you guys have wanted me to react to.
Related to the motion between.
So this is where an altercation took place between Mr. Brooks and the
So that the test.
bailiffs about the test results.
Excuse everyone from the courtroom, take a recess so that the test result could be obtained and if necessary by reasonable force. It's my understanding there was some type of situation or altercation between Mr. Brooks and the deputies. Ultimately, though, I think he was taken into the bullpen. He was brought back out, but it was very clear to me that he was upset. I think understandably so, but I needed to make a record of what was being done, including that I have obtained the test result. So there's an accurate record in this case related to the motion that was raised previously by Mr. Brooks. I want Mr. Brooks to know that I am not removing him from when the jurors are brought back in. It was just simply because he was upset. He was very loud when I walked into the courtroom before going on back on the record. He was yelling about his constitutional rights being violated. I advised
Again, how does he have constitutional rights? If he's a sovereign citizen, he's a walking contradiction. This has not changed.
him that if there was any type of use of force that he wanted to complain about, he could certainly do that through the proper channels with the sheriff's department. But just given his state of
See the bailiffs in the back? Like, he looks like a child in timeout. Which is accurate. It's an accurate depiction of how he lives his life. He never grew up. He never grew up. Which would explain a lot. His childish ways, the fact that he was still messing with minors. Like, he never grew up. He never saw himself past his teenage self. You know, and this is a perfect picture of that. Of Darrell Brooks and his life in a nutshell.
agitation and my need to make a record. I had him taken to the other courtroom. He is currently muted. I do not intend to go forward with additional testimony. Ultimately, I'm going to take an early lunch break because of this, but I will make a record of the following. I have the result. I am going to scan it, have my clerk scan it. It will be filed as confidential, though. It won't be available to the public, but it's there for appellate purposes, but I can confirm that the test result for COVID-19 was negative. And again, I required the sheriff's department to provide that result to me, and it was, and it will remain under seal. I realize I'm disclosing that result, but I feel obligated to do that given the motion that was raised 2 days ago by Mr. Brooks. Again, I intend to take an early lunch. So that will hopefully give Mr. Brooks an opportunity, if he so chooses, to review the result himself. It was put in front of him I did see that he either shoved it or tossed it or just dismissed it. It looked like it went on the floor when it was put in front of him, but we'll certainly have the deputies give that to him again. During the recess for lunch, Mr. Brooks will also be given the opportunity to change into street clothes if he so chooses. But when we come back, he will be in this courtroom. I agree. Mr. Brooks was making a couple of statements about how he was abiding by the rules and being respectful, things of that nature. I agree. He's done an excellent job while in court here this morning. He's been respectful of the rules. He made some early on. I let him, make his objections or lack of consent. He did that respectfully. When I said I was moving on, he generally was able to do that. We were able to get through 2 witnesses. He was able to follow along, ask cogent, clear, responsive, and articulate objections. He was able to elicit information from the witnesses regarding either their memory, their credibility, and other things. Generally speaking, he's been able to competently represent himself and provide, again, solid cross-examination this morning. So I'm going to give him an opportunity to hopefully settle back in and to come back here when we return from lunch. So with that.
Okay, so here's where we have to have a real discussion, guys. Okay. As you guys know, I've said over and over again, this channel is not necessarily a Darrell Brooks channel, and it's certainly not a Darrell Brooks roast channel. It's a channel that we use to basically conduct case studies on people like Darrell Brooks to kind of understand who they are as people, what makes them the way they are, and how to recognize those people in our lives. And what I want you guys to understand in this picture right here, look at this picture of this man, this 40-year-old man breaking down like this. I don't expect you to feel sorry for him. I don't feel sorry for him. But what I do understand is the psychology behind what's happening here, and I'm going to break it down for you guys. If you notice, the moment he started crying is the moment that she started complimenting how he had done in court that day. Why is that important? It's important because this, again, I told you, Darrell has never truly really grown into a man, right? He's tried to figure it out. He's done a lot of things he thinks makes him a man. Hitting women, rapping, selling drugs, whatever the case may be, doing drugs. All these things that he probably grew up seeing other men do is what he thinks and what he has gone through life thinking makes him a man. Having control over the women in his life, he thinks that makes him a man. So he's never truly grown up. He's never truly understood that what it takes to be a man actually is standing on your own 2 feet, growing in compassion and respect for others, taking care of yourself, your responsibilities, treating people with kindness and respect. That's what makes a true man, but he never saw that growing up. And again, I reiterate, this is not for you to feel sorry for Darrell Brooks. So if you're about to comment that, keep that to yourself, because I promise you, I will ignore you. Darrell Brooks, right in this moment right here, right now, is feeling those feelings of, wow, somebody's being compassionate towards me. Somebody is telling me that I'm actually doing a great job at something. I'm actually doing something right. You have to really think to yourself and ask yourself, how many of these experiences did he truly have growing up and throughout his life that he didn't have to force? Erica probably gave him compliments, but Erica was scared of him. You know what I mean? Like, oh, if I don't call this man handsome, what's going to happen to me? His mom, the same thing. Some of you left comments giving me information about the fact that he's put hands on his mother before. So his mother was probably scared of him too. which would explain everything that she did in her like closing statements where she stuck up for him. Stockholm syndrome is a real thing, guys. Look it up. Do some research, man, before we start like really judging people. I want you guys to just think for a second. There's no excusing anything Darrell Brooks did. There's no feeling bad for Darrell Brooks. He dug his own hole. Like at some point, you're not at fault for your upbringing, but you're responsible for what you do with the rest of your life. Because nobody's going to save you. You have to save yourself. He chose not to save himself. He chose to go deeper into a hole. And I'm sure at some point in his life, he had a crossroads where he could have chose a path, and he chose this one. So at some point in life, it does become a choice. But what we're seeing here, why he's crying, why he's breaking down, you know, a lot of you in the comments thought it was funny. There is a comedic part to it because it's like, you know, who do you think you are crying? Nobody's shedding any tears for you. You killed 6 people, right? There is that. But there's that other aspect, right, where we step back and we say, how many people do we have in our lives that we know right now that they're being turned into monsters like this? Based on their circumstance, based on the fact that maybe all they've had is negative words spewed at them for the majority of their life. You got to think about who this guy's father is. You got to think about the fact that his mother was on drugs. His sister died of a drug overdose. Like, what kind of positivity did he have really in his household growing up? Because, let's be honest, guys. Some of you that watch are single mothers. Some of you that watch grew up in chaotic households, whatever the case may be, where stress was high, all that type of stuff. Stress makes you do and say things that maybe you don't mean. I know when I'm at my most, like my highest level of stress, right? When I'm at my highest level of stress, it is so hard to be patient with Zane. And a lot of you think I'm a great father, which I appreciate. I try to be. But when I am stressed out, money's low, maybe, I think I messed something up at work, whatever the case may be, I'm freaking out, I'm having my anxiety. The last thing I want is Zane saying, Daddy. That's the last thing I want, because it's going to make me kind of snap for a second, because I'm already going through so much stuff. So imagine your whole life being like that chaotic, and you have a child named Darrell who's coming to you for guidance and all types of stuff. He doesn't have his dad because his dad's a convict, calling him bomb threats, raping his coworkers. And he has really no other like male parental figure to look up to as a man. You will end up creating this. You will. And again, I'll reiterate again, because if I see this comment, I'm gonna spaz out. So this is a fair warning. I'm just letting you know. Do not comment under this video saying that I am feeling bad for Darrell Brooks, because I will spaz on you. I'm not feeling bad for Darrell Brooks. Darrell Brooks deserves every single thing that he got because of his heinous act. But I do want us to start paying a lot more attention, right, to the people in our lives and how this type of person gets created. If you notice somebody who's constantly being surrounded by negativity, who's constantly being fed negativity, nobody's giving them any words of positive affirmation, anything like that, step up and be that person for them, because you might be able to stop them from turning into this. Because this is a monster. But he wasn't born a monster. But he was born into circumstances that turned him into one. And unfortunately for him, he made the choice to stay in it. There's plenty of great stories about people who have been born into situations like this but chose a different path. So he had a choice. At some point in his life, I guarantee you, he had a choice, probably at multiple points, but he kept choosing this path. And that's why he ended up here. That's how he ended up with 1,000 years in prison. Are you somebody that's maybe in a situation like he was growing up? What are you going to do to take control of your life? What are you going to do to change your circumstance? Or are you going to feel bad for yourself? Hate the world because nobody's giving you anything, and turn into this? Are you going to lash out at the people around you and turn into this? Because the fact that Judge Darrell took time out to tell him, good job, was enough to make a 40-year-old man break down. If you don't think that there's a lot behind that, then maybe you're not as deep of a person as you think you are. Sorry. I know I'm going to make a lot of people mad with that speech, but you know what? At the end of the day, it is what it is. I really don't care. This is my channel. And I'm very honest about how I feel about things, and that's why you guys like me. Because I am very honest about how I feel about a lot of things. I'm not gonna mince words to make anybody feel better. And I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. You guys, all always. Like, I'm a very authentic person. I understand why Darrell Brooks just broke down like that, and I want us to do our part. We can't save everybody. It's not about saving everybody. It's just about doing our part, right? And that's why I say PLP, peace, love, and positivity, right? Spread it everywhere, because you never know. You never know. One day you tell somebody their worth and it clicks for them, and they go down a whole different path towards positivity instead of this, ending up in an orange jumpsuit, sitting in court, fighting for your life.
If you want to draw or circle or anything like that, you may, or you can just simply talk. I'd like you to identify for us where you came in to the area.
Well, it's not really blowing up, so.
No, if you want it blown up, we can blow it up from our table. Sorry. We'll zoom in.
If you wouldn't mind, where it says Frame Park in the upper right-hand corner, that would be, looks like the vicinity that I probably responded to. I would need to see a bigger image.
Is that good?
That will suffice.
Okay.
So I responded in a direction on White Rock Avenue, coming this way. This now is Baxter Avenue, which I would have made a right-hand turn onto. And right about in this parking lot area.
Oh, real quick, just so we're clear. I know there's a lot of times during this trial where he's like faking emotion, right? I told you guys about this a couple of videos ago. I'm like, anytime that he's actually feeling the emotion, he doesn't have to announce it, right? When he gets angry, when he gets mad at the prosecution or at the judge, he just blows up. He doesn't say, "Oh, I'm about to get angry." No, he just blows up. He didn't announce that he was getting emotional in that other courtroom. He just broke down. Because for the first time in this trial, he didn't have to force emotion to come out. It just poured out of him. And it poured out of him because he has been waiting his whole life for somebody to speak positive affirmations into him. And since it didn't happen, instead of taking responsibility for it himself and saying, well, you know what? If nobody else is going to do it for me, I have to love myself more and I have to do it for me. He instead decided to lash out with violence and with negativity. And so this is his fault. And I think during the course of this trial, and of course during that year that he's sitting in prison, sitting in jail, sitting in the Waukesha jail, he had a lot of time to think about it. He had a lot of time to think about all the things in his life that have led him to this point, all the different choices he could have made, the therapy he could have chosen to go to. Instead of making those stupid Facebook Live videos, he could have joined a Facebook group, centered around men's mental health and found somebody to talk to. Instead, he decided to continue to dig and dig and dig a deeper hole until he hit rock bottom, and that's where he is.
Is where the Shootsy building exists, and then there would be a boardwalk and some trails behind that where the boat ramp would be.
Okay. And you drove in that area first, right?
Correct.
What were you looking for?
At that time, I was looking for anybody suspicious that may be involved in a fight, somebody carrying a weapon, somebody that might have been battered and bruised or obviously injured or need of help.
Okay. Did you see anybody?
I did not.
Did you drive around a little bit?
I drove around in the parking lot of the Shootsy building. There was another officer already on scene who, from my understanding, was already on foot in and around the vicinity of the Shootsy building and advised that they could not find anybody at the Shootsy building.
Okay. Officer Phillips, do you see White Rock School on this map?
I do, yes.
Could you put an X on White Rock School?
White Rock School is this elongated building right here, so we'll draw a large X through it.
Okay. And you said the roadway running parallel to White Rock to the north is Baxter?
Correct.
Okay. And Baxter is the road closest to the river. There's no other roads that run along the river there. Just like a walking path or something, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Another officer's out on foot. What do you do?
At this point, the officer came over the radio and stated he could not find anybody in the vicinity. I was listening and monitoring the radio, and at some point, what I thought was a reserve officer came over and said that they were speaking with a couple of subjects potentially involved. So at that time, I got on the radio and said I was going to attempt to meet with the caller because I didn't exactly know who this reserve officer was speaking to, how many subjects were involved, if they were actually involved or just a witness to the situation. All of that information was completely unbeknownst to me, so I decided I should probably go meet with a reserve officer and figure out who these subjects are and what the involvement was.
This reserve officer was working as part of the parade, is that right?
He was in the vicinity right at Sergeant Dave Warner's location.
Okay. So did you drive down there?
I started to drive in that general direction towards White Rock Avenue and Hartwell, which is where Dave Warner and Reserve Officer Troutman would have been. Before I could fully reach that intersection, there was approximately 3 subjects off to my right-hand side on the sidewalk that were yelling, screaming, and waving, like flagging me down. The way that they were doing this, they appeared to be in distress. They appeared that they needed immediate help and certainly appeared that they needed to speak with somebody in law enforcement.
Can you put a small X on the map in the approximate area where you met up with these 3 individuals, or they were waving at you?
It would have been about halfway between Baxter and where Sergeant Warner's squad was parked. So again, this is going to be an approximation, but I'm going to put that X right about here.
Okay. So I assume you pulled over.
I pulled over, I rolled down my passenger window, and 2 of the subjects started yelling that their friend had been assaulted. So it was right at that point that they started trying to tell me that their friend had been assaulted, that information came over the radio on the primary dispatch channel that something had happened downtown and somebody had been hit. So at that point, my attention started to get a little bit diverted because hearing that on the radio is not something that just happens every day. That perks you up pretty quickly to figure out, that could be a serious injury, that could be more officers needed, something that affects. That took my attention away briefly. As I looked back at the subjects, they started to again say that their friend had been assaulted. So I said, hold on, let me pull over so I can get out, so I can speak with you directly in person and figure out what was going on. I pulled my squad over.
Yep, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay. I pulled my squad over. I exited my driver's side of the vehicle, came around to the front of my vehicle when a short black female who was wearing what appeared to be a blue coat and blue jeans walked in the front of my patrol vehicle. There was 2 other subjects that were with her, and they started to indicate that she had been assaulted by a boyfriend of some type. I started to talk to the female who had the blue coat on, and I said, well, what happened? Who is this person?
Real quick. I'd love to ask you guys questions about how you feel about stuff. I know a lot of women hate being called a female. You guys, let me know. What do you guys think about that? I've definitely heard a lot of different reasons. The main one being, when you say female, it more so sounds like you're talking about an animal rather than, a human being. Because like when people are like referring to men, most of the time they'll say a man, not really a male. I don't know, just a thing. I know some people really don't care. It's not that deep to you guys, but just let me know. I'm just curious what you guys think.
and she tried to downplay what happened. She didn't want to be cooperative. She made comments to the effect of nothing happened. It was just a verbal argument. I'm fine. I just want to leave.
Did you see any injury on her?
So at that time, I did. The two subjects that were with her tried to tell her that they said, no, Erica, you need to tell him what happened. And one of the subjects looked at me and said, officer, you need to look at her face, because she was bladed a little bit to 45 degrees away from me. So I kind of stepped and looked a little bit to the side, and I could see that her face was swollen. There was obvious bruising on it. She had an obvious black eye on one side of her face. The other eye also looked like it was swollen. But it was appear that she had facial injuries that were obvious.
You said they referred to this person by the name of Erica, is that right?
Yes.
Did you eventually ask this person for her name?
I did eventually ask for her name, yes.
What did she tell you?
She told me that her full name was Erica Patterson and that her date of birth was 10/7 of 1990.
Okay. And were you going to investigate her complaint further?
I was attempting to investigate the complaint further, yes.
And then what happened?
So as I was speaking to this woman who identified herself as Erica, along with the two other people that were with her who I did not identify, the calls on the radio at that point were 1078 after 1078 after 1078.
Okay, what does that mean?
So 1078 in law enforcement jargon is officer needs immediate assistance right now, all available units. As that was being called multiple times, other people were coming on the radio and stating there were subjects down in the street, then it was 10 people down, then it was 15, then it was to 30 or 40. And I had to make a decision at that point, speaking with the subjects, particularly the one who appeared to be involved and the most injured, who was not being cooperative with me, that the greater danger and the clear and present threat that was happening downtown had to draw my attention. I had to leave.
All right. The events that you've described for us so far, are those all captured on your squad video, sir?
Yes.
And at that time, in November of 2021, were you wearing a body camera?
I was not wearing a body camera at that time.
So you had a...
Yeah, so what we're actually going to do, guys, is we're going to skip ahead a bit. We're going to skip to Darrell's cross-examination. I think you guys get the gist of Officer Phillips and what his role in this was. He was the one who responded to the initial call from Nicholas Kirby. While he's responding to that, Erica's not really being forthright with information because, again, as we've explained in other videos, she's scared of Darrell Brooks. She doesn't want to tell him Darrell Brooks because she doesn't know what's going to happen if she does. So because she's not being cooperative and he's hearing all this commotion on the radio and everything, he basically decides, okay, I got to come back to this later. Let me get your information. I'll come back to this later. And I got to get downtown because there's more important things happening downtown, it sounds like. So I'm going to go to Darrell's cross-examination.
So it would be fair to say that you would be on duty as of now if you weren't giving testimony in this manner.
I would be on duty right now, yes.
And questions like these is why I said I don't feel bad for Darrell Brooks. Because what he's trying to do is say, oh, you're getting paid to testify, so there's incentive for you to testify. I don't even have to explain why that's such a ridiculous argument. But it's the only thing he doesn't have any evidence to support himself. I've said this over and over again. He has no evidence to support himself. The only thing he can do is try to find technicalities with every witness. That's his only hope. And it didn't work.
So it will also be fair to ask if it would be fair to say that you giving testimony right now, you're still getting paid for it?
I am currently employed by the City of Waukesha Police Department on a working patrol shift, on a normal shift for myself, yes.
with that, would it be fair to say that you are getting paid right now as we speak?
Yes, I'm getting paid right now.
By whom?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained. Next question.
Were you subpoenaed by the plaintiff in this matter?
Can you rephrase the question?
Were you subpoenaed to testify here today by the plaintiff?
Can you explain it in another way?
That was pretty clear. Were you subpoenaed to testify by the plaintiff in this matter?
I was subpoenaed by the Waukesha County Prosecution's Office to testify in this matter.
And can you say that again just for the record?
I was subpoenaed by the Waukesha County Prosecution's Office in this matter.
Is the Waukesha County Prosecution's Office the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Do you know of any plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Have you ever seen the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Have you ever talked
Sustained.
Have you ever talked to the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Wouldn't this have been a great time, Judge Darrell, to pull out under 906.11, sub B, sub C, whatever it is usually says, move on to your next line of questioning? Like, I see why a lot of you get so frustrated with Judge Darrell during this trial. And now, obviously, I've never been a judge in a trial or in any capacity, so, it's easy to play armchair judge, right? But come on now. Like, it's obvious that you can, make him move on to a different line of questioning. When he's asked like 5 straight questions about the plaintiff, and all of them are being objected to, yeah, now's the green light to say, move on to a different line of questioning.
Why are you continuing to look at parties that are not asking the questions?
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained.
And that's where he gets upset that the man is not looking at him when he's answering the questions, because it's all about Darrell. Again, guys, this is why I don't feel bad for Darrell. I don't feel bad for him at all. I don't really care about the fact that he was sad or the fact that he broke down in court. What I do care about is those of us who are still in the free world, who've yet to break the law and get sent to prison. I'm focused on ensuring that remains that way. I'm focused on ensuring that we recognize every person in our lives who has the potential to be a Darrell Brooks and stopping it in its tracks.
So, in the video, it's kind of hard to hear everything that was said when you pulled over and interviewed the 3 individuals. Can you give a little more commentary on what was actually said?
Can you clarify exactly?
Yeah, can you clarify? I see what I really like about Jeremy Phillips. He's like, bro, if the question's not clear, I'm not even going to speculate on what I think your question was. I'm just going to make you say it again. Like, not going to make it easy for you. I think Detective Casey did the same thing, right? Like, just didn't make anything easy for him.
What exactly were you told by the 3 individuals that you pulled over to interview?
I don't remember or recall exactly what all 3 individuals said to me, as 1078 and the screams for help by other officials over the radio were directing my attention to figure out what was also going on downtown. What I recall hearing from these individuals is that one of the individuals that was not Erica indicated that their friend had been in a fight or an altercation. So that's when I decided to pull over to try to get more information out of them. Erica, told me that nothing happened, that there was just a verbal altercation, that she wanted nothing to happen and she just wanted to leave. That's when another one of the individuals said, "Erica, you need to report what happened." And she still didn't want to. And that was basically about the extent of it when I just tried to get her name as these calls over the radio were coming for whatever was happening downtown that was unbeknownst to me at the time.
So would it be fair to say that you do recall the commentary of the interview?
I'm sorry. Now I will object as argumentative, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Oh, guys, how could I forget? This is a Darrell Brooks examination, right? 1.25 speed. Now let's go.
What I would say, Mr. Brooks, is the use of the word commentary mischaracterizes the evidence. It's argumentative.
So it would be fair to say that you do recall what was said after already saying you don't recall.
I object. It's argumentative.
Sustained. Rephrase your question.
Oh my gosh, this is on 1.25 speed and it's still taking this long. Skip
The
ahead.
knife.
Okay. Now he says something.
It would be fair to say that you responded to a fight at Frame Park, possibly involving a knife. That'd be fair to say.
That is what the initial dispatch was, yes.
Was any knife recovered from that scene, or
I did not recover a knife. No.
did you see anybody with a knife?
I did not see any individual with a knife.
Did you learn who reported that there was a knife involved?
I do not know the subject's names that actually reported the incident, no.
From your recollection, sorry. Just 1 second. From your recollection, was Erica Patterson being cooperative with the information that she gave you?
Erica Patterson was not being cooperative with the information she was giving me, no.
Again, this is why I don't feel bad for this man. Look at this. Look at what he's doing. He's not prepared. He's inconsiderate of people's time. He's asking the dumbest, most pointless questions. Nothing's going anywhere. He's just wasting time. He's wasting time. Which is all he does. He just wastes time over and over and over again. To the point where I speed this video up and it's still taking forever. But you know what? I do this for you guys. I do this for you. I watch this stuff for you. So like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe.
Do you recall if the male individual reported any information to you?
I believe I heard a male's voice during the time that I was flagged down. I don't recall what information he told me directly.
But there was 3 individuals that you interviewed at that time. Would that be fair to say?
There were 3 individuals present at the time I was flagged down, yes.
And one of them was a male. Would that be fair to say?
Correct, yes.
But you don't recall him relaying any type of information to you at that time?
I remember hearing a male's voice. I don't remember what information that specific person told me at that time.
Just so we're clear on the record, about how long did you conduct that interview, would you say? Was it a couple of minutes or?
I'd have to look directly at the squad video for an exact timestamp, but I would say it was in the vicinity of 1.5 to 2 minutes.
After you interviewed those 3 individuals, did you later gain any more information of the incident that you were investigating at that time?
I did not gain any further information regarding the specific fight that I was initially dispatched to, no.
And just so we're clear for the record, you did not talk to the plaintiff about testifying.
Objection. Vague.
Sustained.
Did you say vague? Were you contacted in any way by the plaintiff to testify here today?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Do you know if there's even a plaintiff in this matter?
All right.
I was contacted by the Waukesha County District Attorney's Office to testify in this case.
Do you know if that's the plaintiff in this matter?
Generally, in a criminal case, the plaintiff would be the state of Wisconsin. That is my assumption in this case, that the plaintiff is the state of Wisconsin.
So the state of Wisconsin is the plaintiff in this matter to your knowledge?
That would be correct, yes.
No further questions, right?
Finally. Oh my gosh. I never thought that would end. I never thought that would end. I never thought that. Please give a like and share this video, because I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind watching these cross examinations. And I know the next one is worse, because I believe the next one is, no, okay, the next one I believe is the one that he encountered when he was driving the wrong way down the one-way street. And then the one after that is the mother of a couple of the victims. So, and then following that is Detective Casey. This is going to be a long day 2. Oh my gosh. Please leave a like, share, subscribe, do all of those things. It helps out the algorithm, it helps the channel grow, and it helps me with my sanity dealing with this dude. Please show some love, please, and thank you. Follow my own advice. Breathe, right? In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Well, guys, that's it for this episode. More to come. As you guys already know, we're going through this whole trial. I am going to suffer through this for you guys, okay? I am. I'm going to suffer through this for you guys. More to come. PLP. Peace, love, and positivity. Spread it everywhere. Throw it in the comment section. PLP. If you have not joined as a member of this channel, do so now. We have 2 different packages. Both include their own specific perks. Check it out. See which one you guys are interested in and become a part of the family. One of them includes members only live streams. Okay. And I'm going to be doing a panel coming pretty soon, and the only people that are eligible to be on the panel and be in that video that will be released onto Alphonso Speaks are channel members. Okay, so let's make sure we join the channel. Like, share, subscribe. Stay safe, stay blessed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.